watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Second India-Australia 2+2 defence and foreign ministerial dialogue in New Delhi today. Israel releases CCTV footage showing hostages at Gaza Hospital.
By now, the truth is clear. Hamas wages war from hospital, wages terror from hospitals.
Argentina elects Javier Milei as new president to reshape the political and economic roadmap of the country. The 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India to begin in Goa. And Australia lifts 6th World Cup trophy, defeats India by 6 wickets. Now to details now. Defence Ministers of India and Australia will join the country's foreign ministers in the second India-Australia 2+2 defence and foreign ministerial dialogue in New Delhi on Monday. The ministers are expected to discuss a wide range of strategic, defence and security issues. More in this report.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will meet their Australian counterparts for the second India-Australia 2+2 Defence plus Foreign Ministerial Dialogue in New Delhi on Monday. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister of Australia Richard Marles and Foreign Minister Penny Wong will be representing the Australian side. India and Australia share a comprehensive strategic partnership. A mutual logistics support agreement was signed in 2020. Australia and India support a rules-based international order. They seek to forge regional institutions in the Indo-Pacific which are inclusive and promote economic integration. The Quad is an example of shared interest. The two countries also participate in joint military exercises. Apart from Quad, the two countries are members of the Commonwealth, Indian Ocean Rim Association, ASEAN Regional Forum, Asia-Pacific Partnership on Climate and Clean Development, and East Asia Summit. Both countries are also members of the 5 interested parties in the World Trade Organization context. The Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement (ECTA) was the first free trade agreement signed by India with a developed country. It came into force in December 2022. India and Australia are partners in a trilateral agreement along with Japan to enhance the resilience of supply chains. There is also significant cooperation in the education sector. 2 universities of Australia have campuses in India. More than 1 lakh Indian students study in Australia. Apart from the 2+2 dialogue, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will hold a bilateral meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister Marles. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and Foreign Minister Wong will also hold a bilateral meeting under the 14th Foreign Ministerial Framework Dialogue, that's on the 21st of November. Stronger people-to-people ties are growing naturally, given the growing Indian diaspora in Australia. The two countries are aiming for a broad and multifaceted bilateral relationship. The countries, which are cricket-loving nations and share a formidable sporting rivalry, elevated their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the first virtual summit held on 4th of June 2020. Bureau Report, DD India.
An Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs, Penny Wong, arrived here in New Delhi this morning to co-chair the second India-Australia 2+2 Ministerial Dialogue and the 14th Foreign Ministers Framework Dialogue. Well, Indian Minister V. Muralidharan will be visiting Tanzania and Kenya from November 20th to 23rd. A 30-member business delegation from India will be accompanying Minister of State for the visit. The visit is aimed at strengthening India's strong bilateral relations with these countries. In Tanzania, the minister will call on the President, Mr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, and also hold discussions with other ministers, and then visit overseas campus of IIT Madras. V. Muralidharan will thereafter visit Kenya from 22nd to 23rd of November 2023, where he will meet functionaries of government and inaugurate an exhibition on the role of the Indian soldiers in East Africa during the First World War. And as 41 workers are still trapped inside the partially collapsed Silkyara tunnel in Indian northern state of Uttarakhand, government has laid a new 6-inch pipeline for around 40 meters in order to better deliver food and water to the trapped workers. The government has also announced a plan of 5 options for their safe evacuation. Prime Minister Modi is constantly monitoring the evacuation. Moving on, the 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India, home to the best of the world and Indian cinema, kickstarts in the western Indian state of Goa on Monday. More than 270 films will be showcased during the 8-day-long annual festival at 4 venues. DD India correspondent Shyama Mishra spoke to festival director Pratul Kumar regarding the preparation.
The much-awaited film festival, the International Film Festival of India, the 54th edition will begin. And we have Pratul Kumar, the director of the festival, with us. Sir, many congratulations. We all have been looking forward to it. What's unique this year? I mean, how many movies are we going to watch, and where all we've got the registrations from?
So uniqueness is in scaling up what has been entrusted upon us, is that the first thing which we came to know when we were embarking upon the journey of organizing this 54th edition of IFFI, that back in 1952, when the first edition was organized, it was Mr. Satyajit Ray who had commented upon it, that if the quality of films which were showcased in the festival, they were to be seen, then probably the first IFFI which was held in 1952 was the best IFFI by far across the world for many, many years. So we're just continuing that legacy which was left to us, but we are trying to do our best so that the people who come here and participate in the festival, they get to see more and more films, and apart from that, the quality of films should be the best from around the world. And we have been really successful this year.
Lastly, sir, when we are speaking about the cinema reaching the people and India positioning itself as the content hub of the world, what have you seen in that area, the progress that has happened since the time we've coined this term, that we want to project ourselves as the content hub of the world?
So, in fact, there are many facets to it that India is actually reaching that stage. You can all see that India has got 2 Oscars, which was a rarity. And getting 2 Oscars means then the content which is being developed is being appreciated not just nationally, but internationally. Everybody is appreciating the content. So that's one part of it. And we are promoting the creative minds here because we recognize. So it is ultimately the people who create this content, and it was the vision of Honorable Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Shri Anurag Singh Thakurji, that such an initiative was started 2 years back, and this is the 3rd edition of 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow.
So that was the festival director talking all about that will be there, that will be presented and would be up for grabs for the cinema lovers, for the movie lovers and everything entertainment. With camera person Sanjeev, this is Shyama Mishra for DD India, Goa.
And for more International Film Festival, DD India correspondent Shyama Mishra joins us from Panaji, Goa. Well, Shyama, with India's growing influence in the global media and entertainment industry, as you called it, the content hub, what can we expect from this grand event?
Well, for starters, we understand that this year the entries that were received is way more, in numbers than it was there in the 3rd edition. We've understood that around 2,900 movies more than that, movies, entries were received. And this year, as you've seen last year, the gala premieres that were taking place. So this year, that legacy also continues, but it's even grand. So we can understand that there are Asian premieres, there are Indian premieres, there are international premieres, and much more. So premieres, gala premieres are all there. Red carpets are all there. So we understand that last minute decking up of Panji, of other places in Goa are going on. And we've also seen the people of Goa really excited about this film festival because this is like an annual celebration for them. Apart from that, we've also understood that, one major attraction of this particular film festival would be the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award. The recipient of it, Hollywood producer and actor Michael Douglas, he'd be coming to receive the award. He'll be also taking a masterclass on that. We understand that IFFI is not just about screening of movies, screening of Indian or international movies, but it is also about understanding how a cinema or how any entertainment-related, a movie, series, or anything is made. So master classes, in session, all these would be carried on, and one master class would be taken by Michael Douglas himself. Apart from that, there'll be around 20 master classes and in sessions that will take place throughout 9 days. And we're also understanding that today, Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, he'd be coming for inaugurating the film festival. Catching Dust, that is the opening movie. That will the inauguration of that red carpet of the opening film will happen at around 2. And then we are understanding that apart from that, there'll be opening of Film Bazaar, which is another major attraction where all the business happens. As the name suggests, it's a bazaar, so all the business happens there. So we are here currently at this particular Film Bazaar, where we are also seeing that CMOT, 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow, that competition is going to take place, and this will be the 3rd edition. So yes, a lot of talent is being churned out, and after what we understand, when the movie film festival will conclude, we'll also get 75 fresh young minds that will be ready to create Indian cinema, and they'll be ready to create cinema that will be for a global standard.
Right, Shyama. Also, the festival received a record-breaking entry from about 105 countries, reflecting its global appeal. Can you tell us more about that?
Right, like I was mentioning, earlier, that this year the film festival has received way more entries than it has ever received. So we are directly comparing it to the 53rd edition. So this year, the entries that were received is 2,926. These movies have been received. The movies that would be screened across various locations would be 270. So it is also more than what it was last year. Another new location has been, finalized this year. So 4 locations where the movies would be screened. So apart from the INOX ESG, apart from INOX Porvorim, Kala Academy is ready, which was shut for 2 years. It was under maintenance, it was under repair. So that is new. That is, almost 600-seater. So that is there. Apart from that, there is one Ashok Samrat Theatre where the movies would be screened. So we can understand for Goans, for people who are coming from other states, for people who are coming from other countries to, watch world level cinema, world standard cinema, they can have more options over here. And the record number of entries, because also India has been positioning itself as content hub of the world, not just, the Indian subcontinent or the Asian continent, but we are also promoting ourselves at many, many international film festivals. And for example, like earlier this year, Cannes Film Festival happened. So Michael Douglas was there at the India Pavilion, and from there the proposal was given to him, and there he accepted. So we can understand, or last year we had seen at Cannes Film Festival that India was given the honor of country of honor. So this was the very first. This was the very first initiative, and India had received that. So we can understand that the whole process is already started, and India is really giving world-class content to the entire world. And also because the VFX or the technical aspects of India is getting stronger and stronger. So many movies, many international movies are coming to India and getting their back, work like the VFX and all that done in India.
You're all right, Shama, thank you so much. Indeed, India is the content hub of the world at the moment. And moving on, India celebrates 8 years of the Uday or Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana scheme, which aims at rescuing the debts of Discoms in India and also reduce the cost of electricity throughout the country. Here is a report by DD India correspondent Debyendu Mundal.
Over the last 8 years, the Uday or the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana launched by the Ministry of Power has been able to turn around several debt-ridden power distribution companies across the country. The state power distribution companies have reported significant improvement in the reduction of losses and improvement in the cost of power distribution. The financial data shows that the state discoms reported a reduction in aggregate technical and commercial losses by 3%. Not just this, it has also reported the reduction of average cost of supply and average revenue realized gap from rupees 0.48 per kilowatt to rupees 0.30 per kilowatt in the financial year of 2020.
Electrified every village, we electrified every hamlet, we connected every home. We connected 29 million homes in 19 months. And the International Energy Agency called it the largest and the fastest expansion of access ever in the world in the history of the power sector. That's what we did. We connected the whole country. We converted our country from power deficit to power surplus.
The scheme, Uday, was launched in November 2015 for operational and financial turnaround of state-owned power distribution companies or the DISCOMs. The scheme aims to reduce the interest burden, reduce the cost of power, reduce power losses in distribution sector, and improve operational efficiencies of the DISCOMs. The scheme has now covered almost all the states and union territories of India, which incentivizes the states by exempting state takeover of DISCOM debts. The scheme also aims to provide increased supply of domestic coal, coal linkage rationalization, liberally allowing coal swaps, allocation of coal linkages to states at notified prices, and an additional or priority funding.
पिछले 8 वर्षों में देश में लगभग 1,70,000 मेगावाट बिजली उत्पादन की क्षमता जोड़ी गई है। वन नेशन वन पावर ग्रिड आज देश की ताकत बन चुका है। पूरे देश को जोड़ने के लिए लगभग 1,70,000 सर्किट किलोमीटर ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस बिछाई गई है।
The scheme has an outlay of over rupees 3,000 crore, which will reform and change the face of electricity distribution and DISCOMs in the country over the next few years. Debyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. France is sending warship to provide over 10 tons of medical supplies early next week to Gaza. Ukrainian president calls for rapid operation changes for soldiers, sacks commander. And about 3,000 mostly Ukrainian trucks are stuck on the Polish side of the border. Stay tuned to know why.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution. This series is going to tell stories of such changemakers. Watch Changemakers on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on, update on Israel-Hamas conflict now. The Israeli army on Sunday released a video showing security camera footage of what they say were the Hamas terrorists bringing in hostages from Israel into the Shifa hospital on the day of the October 7th attack. The video aired by Israel chief spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari appeared to show 2 hostages being brought into the Al-Shifa hospital. Armed men can be seen in the CCTV video, which is date-stamped of 7th October. One of the hostages appear to be resisting, the other is shown on a stretcher.
The world must remember, Hamas is holding the elderly, men, women, children, babies, hostage. The Israel Defense Forces has a moral obligation to bring every one of our hostages home. We will not rest until we do. Hamas was hiding and murdering our hostages in Shifa Hospital. Hamas was building terror tunnels underneath Shifa Hospital. By now, the truth is clear. Hamas wages war from hospitals, wages terror from hospitals.
Well, Israeli forces also said the 19-year-old Noah Masiona was abducted and murdered by Hamas terrorists on October 7th as a body was found and extracted by IDF troops adjacent to the Shifa Hospital in Gaza. IDF further said that due to the ongoing combat, Masiona's captor was also killed.
During ongoing combat, in the vicinity of where she was held captive, Noah, Hamas captor, was killed, and Noah was injured. I repeat, she was only injured. An independent pathological report has determined Noah's injuries were not life-threatening. I repeat, Noah's injuries were not life-threatening. Hamas terrorists took Noah into Shifa Hospital, where she was murdered quickly. Hamas murdered Noah inside Shifa Hospital.
Well, the Israeli military also published a video on Sunday of a tunnel, it says, dug by Hamas terrorists under the Al-Shifa Hospital. The IDF and social media site X said it revealed a significant 55-meter-long terrorist tunnel 10 meters underneath the Shifa Hospital complex during an intelligence-based operation. According to IDF, the tunnel entrance contains various defense mechanisms, such as a blast-proof door and a firing hole, in an attempt by Hamas to block Israeli forces from entering. It further said these videos prove that Hamas is using residents of the Gaza and patients of Shifa Hospital as human shields. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu laid out for the first time Israel's preconditions for the post-conflict administration of Gaza.
My goal is that the day after we destroy Hamas, any future civil administration in Gaza does not deny the massacre, does not educate its children to become terrorists, does not pay for terrorists, and does not tell its children that their ultimate goal in life is to see the destruction and dissolution of the state of Israel. That's not acceptable, and that is not the way to achieve peace.
Meanwhile, people living in tents in Gaza's Khan Yunis are facing more challenges as strong wind and rain lashed refugee camps on Sunday. Camp inhabitants could be seen mending and strengthening their temporary homes as the bad weather hit the area. Plastic sheets used for the shelter walls and roofs were whipped in the wind, while rain created large puddles on the ground between tents at the UNRWA Vocational Training Center in Khan Yunis. Meanwhile, France is planning to charter a new aircraft from Air Force that will transport over 10 tons of medical supplies early next week to Gaza. As per President Emmanuel Macron's office, the aircraft will set sail at the start of the week and arrive in Egypt in the coming days. It further added that France is mobilizing all its available means to contribute to the evacuation of wounded and sick children requiring emergency care from the Gaza Strip to its hospitals. Earlier, Macron spoke with Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Saturday about ongoing negotiations to free hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Meanwhile, Houthi rebels claim to have seized an Israeli cargo ship in the southern Red Sea on Sunday. Israel, however, denied ownership of the vessel and said that there was no Israelis among its crew. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said on Sunday that the vessel was operated by a Japanese company which leased it from a British company. Earlier, the Israel Defense Forces said in a statement that the Houthis took control of the cargo ship near Yemen in the southern Red Sea, adding that the vessel was heading from Turkey to India. IDF warned that the hijacking was a very grave incident of global consequence. The IDF has deployed additional ships in the Red Sea to deal with threats from the Houthi rebels. Also, Japan has strongly condemned the seizure of cargo ship by Houthi rebels. Japanese Chief Cabinet Secretary said that the government is working with the relevant countries for the early release of the vessel.
We have received reports that there are no Japanese nationals among the crew. The government firmly condemns this kind of incident. Currently, ministries and agencies, including the Transport Ministry and the Foreign Ministry, are gathering information and working with the relevant countries for the early release of the vessel and its crew.
And on to update from Russia-Ukraine war now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday demanded rapid operation changes for soldiers and announced the dismissal of the commander of the military's medical forces. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said he had replaced Major General Tatasha Otaschenko as commander of the medical forces as a new level of medical support for soldiers is needed. Otaschenko was replaced by Major General Anatoly Kazmirchuk, head of a military clinic in Kyiv. He added.
The task is clear and has been repeatedly stressed in society, particularly among combat medics. We need fundamentally new level of medical support from our soldiers, from high-quality tourniquets to full digitalization and transparency in supply, from high-quality training to sincere communication with combat medics in those units where medical care is organized truly, properly and truly effectively. The experience should be extended to the entire defense forces. In today's meeting with Defense Minister Umrov, priorities were set. There is a little time left to wait for results. Quick action is needed for the forthcoming changes.
And at least 3,000 trucks, mostly Ukrainian, have been struck on the Polish side of the border on Sunday. Polish truckers earlier this month blocked roads to 3 border crossings with Ukraine to protest against what they see as government inaction over a loss of business to foreign competitors since Russia's conflict with Ukraine last year. As some of the trucks are even carrying fuel and humanitarian aid, the blockade is now in its 10th day. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Macau's Vintage Cars Parade brought an end to the annual event, which attracted car enthusiasts from Hong Kong and Macau to the entertaining high-speed sports event. Made in different decades, ranging from 1940s to 1960s and 1980s, the participating cars were old but classic and still in fashion. The Nguyen's dynasty's imperial seal, one of the precious Vietnamese antiques stolen and taken abroad, was returned to the Vietnamese side at a ceremony held at the Vietnamese embassy in France. This important event was the result of over a year of negotiations and the implementation of legal procedures to hold the open auction of the seal and fulfill Vietnam's request for its return. Returning the seal is crucial for preserving the integrity of cultural heritage, a matter of importance to UNESCO in the field of cultural heritage preservation. Colourful hot air balloons as part of the 21st International Hot Air Balloon Festival filled clear blue skies in central Mexico on Sunday, where participants from over 20 different countries attended the festival. 200 hot air balloons filled the sky, with some balloons taking on unique forms such as unicorns, dinosaurs, elephants and popular characters such as SpongeBob. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Dominican Republic on alert after deadly floods kill over 20. As nations conclude week-long talks over plastic pollution, many say much less needs to be produced in the first place. And former First Lady of the United States, Rosalynn Carter, has died at age 96.
that never stops, where information shapes our reality. One app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Second India-Australia 2+2 Defence and Foreign Ministerial Dialogue in New Delhi today. Israel releases CCTV footage showing hostages at Gaza Hospital. Argentina elects Javier Milei as new president to reshape the political and economic roadmap of the country. The 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India to begin in Goa today. And Australia lifts 6th World Cup trophy, defeats India by 6 wickets. Moving on, Argentina celebrated the victory of Libertarian Javier Milei as their new president, winning with nearly 56% votes as against his rival Sergio Massa, who scored 44% of the total votes. Milei has been handed over an economy battered by triple-digit inflation, looming recession and rising poverty. His election is going to reshape the political and economic roadmap of the country, could impact trade in grains, lithium and hydrocarbons, as he's opposed to communist nations while favouring strong ties with the US. Citizens expressed happiness over Milei's win, hoping him to bring a turn around in country's economic situations. People were enthusiastic over the results, saying they voted Milei for a change.
Empezamos a dar vuelta a la página de nuestra historia.
This model of decadence has come to an end. There is no turning back. The results of this model are plain for all to see. From being the richest country in the world, today we are ranked 130. Half of Argentines are poor and the other 10% are destitute. Stop this impoverishing model of this caste. Today we embrace the libertarian model so as to return to being a global power.
Well, with the surprising win of Javier Milei in Argentina's general elections held on Sunday, reactions poured in from around the globe. Leaders from various nations took to social media to extend greetings to Milei on his victory. Presidents of Chile, Colombia, Brazil and Uruguay took to social media site X to congratulate Milei. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan congratulated Javier Milei on being elected president, adding that US looks forward to building on a strong relationship based on human rights, democratic values and transparency. While former Brazilian president and former US President Donald Trump also extended greetings on Milei's success. And moving on, Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi launched his re-election bid on Sunday. He was speaking to his supporters at the Kinshasa Matia Stadium, urging them to give him another mandate to consolidate his achievements, which included free basic education. The presidential poll scheduled for December 20th will witness participation of more than 43 million eligible voters. Tshisekedi is another seeking term following a turbulent 5 years in office. Interacting with his supporters, Tshisekedi told that he planned to introduce universal health care. Well, after government collapse over a cluster of crises, including immigration policy, Netherlands will hold parliamentary elections on 22nd of November. With its domestic economy dealing with issues ranging from the high cost of living and a shortage of housing to healthcare and migration, Mark Rutte made exit after serving as Prime Minister for 13 years. Voters will cast votes for the 150-seat House to elect the new Prime Minister, keeping in mind their concerns of economic well-being and climate change. Among the candidates running for the post, the frontrunners include Dylan Yesigros and Peter Omziks. Well, voters in Moldova gave majority to President Maia Sandu's party in runoff elections held on Sunday, supporting her drive to join the European Union. In the runoff elections, voters gave President Maia Sandu's party a little more than a third of nearly 900 councils in the country lying between Ukraine and Romania, which is seen as a successful outcome. Earlier, Sandu had warned of Russian meddling in the elections, particularly accusing fugitive business magnate Ilan Shor of money funding to buy votes. Shor's allies were barred from running the first round, while he was sentenced in absentia to 15 years in prison for his part in a huge bank fraud. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe said that the decision to bar some candidates had limited voters' choice and resulted in uncontested races in some smaller localities. And moving on, New Zealand's Prime Minister-elect Christopher Luxon said that a significant milestone had been achieved in forming a government overnight. New Zealand had gone to polls to elect new Prime Minister last month. Luxon's National Party won the largest share of votes in New Zealand's October 14 general election, but needed support to form government. Coalition talks had been ongoing regarding the same. Finally, on Sunday, the National Party, ACT New Zealand and New Zealand First agreed on policy programs after final negotiations. The parties are yet to decide on ministerial positions. Luxon said he did not expect that to take too long, and discussions would focus on these decisions this afternoon. Well, international delegates gathered in Kenya for a week to mull over landmark treaty to fight global plastic pollution. As of now, over 500 proposals are at hand, over which discussion will take place for a year. After which, 2 more rounds of talks will take place next year to try to finalize the deal. Delegates in Nairobi were mulling 2 options: a wide-ranging strategy that would target plastics production or a limited approach focusing on waste management. The United Nations in 2022 endorsed a historic resolution at the UN Environment Assembly to forge an international legally binding agreement to end plastic pollution by 2024.
This is a critical step in the negotiation to make sure that that zero draft which came into this meeting, and in our view, as is often the time, it tends to be an underwhelming document, needed to be filled out with a broader range of views from governments. And that's what we saw this week. That we now have in the document a wide range of views that will carry forward into INC4. And at INC4, that's where we expect governments to start to narrow down and identify areas of consensus that will eventually go into the agreement.
Meanwhile, the plastics industry, oil and petrochemical exporters, including Russia and Saudi Arabia, have said a global deal should promote recycling and reuse of plastic, but environmental campaigners and some governments say much less needs to be produced in the first place.
The reality is that we've only recycled about 9% of the plastic that's ever been produced. We cannot recycle our way out of this problem. And so what Greenpeace is calling for is cutting plastic production and accelerating a reuse-based economy. We expect the negotiations to finance, create standards, and accelerate reuse at a global scale.
And while Dominican Republic authorities reported 21 deaths after heavy rains of Sunday that have displaced thousands of residents. According to the Emergency Operations Center, over 13,000 people had been relocated to secure areas after torrential rains flooded homes, caused power outages and damaged bridges and parts of roads. Earlier on Saturday, 9 people died after rains caused the wall of a highway tunnel to collapse onto their cars. Rescue agencies saved over 2,500 people, citing damage to 2,600 homes due to the degrading weather. Many provinces were put on red alert following Sunday's downpours. Around 45 communities were left without communication. And former First Lady of the United States, Rosalynn Carter, has died at the age of 96. A close advisor to her husband, Jimmy Carter, during his term as U.S. President, Rosalynn advocated for better treatment of the mentally ill. She died on Sunday at her home in the state of Georgia after living with dementia. DD India's Sally Patterson has more.
The Carter Center confirmed on Sunday that Rosalynn Carter had died peacefully with her family by her side. She was married to Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, for 77 years. The former president called Rosalind his equal partner in everything he ever accomplished, offering wise guidance and encouragement. Rosalind made her mark on US politics, shaping the role of the modern First Lady. She sat in on cabinet meetings and represented her husband on foreign trips. She was the first First Lady to maintain an office in the East Wing of the White House. Now, she was also a devoted champion of mental health reform. And speaking in 2003, she said, 25 years ago, we did not dream that people might be able to recover from mental illness. And today, that's a very real possibility. Sally Patterson in New York, reporting for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. What's so special about the possible return of ousted CEO Altman? Possible return to OpenAI? We tell you ahead. Novak Djokovic punctuated another memorable year on Sunday by etching his name in the history books once again. And marathoners from across the world participated in Havana's annual Marabana race.
Welcome to a happy place. To nature's warm embrace. Witness the power of faith, fruits of hard work, and protectors of Mother Earth. Unique in every way. Discover something new every day. A small state with big ambitions. And a bigger heart. Mizoram welcomes to love, laughter, and celebrations.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. And history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine, and culture comes together to create an unforgettable impression. Punjab is all set to win your hearts with its unique and colorful extravaganza.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and on to business news now. Ousted OpenAI CEO Sam Altman joined executives at the company's San Francisco headquarters. Following reports, he's set to return after being sacked on Friday. The ex-boss of leading artificial intelligence firm has posted a photo of himself at its headquarters. Altman and former President Greg Brockman joined executives on Sunday after interim CEO Meera Murthy invited him. After a host of talks with the company's board, Altman is discussing a possible return to the company while considering launch of a new artificial intelligence venture. And Australia's second largest telco Optus Chief Executive Officer Kelly Bayer Rosemarine resigned on Monday, cutting short a more than 3-year tenure. Optus parent Singapore Telecommunications announced the resignation of Optus CEO Kelly Bayer Rosemarine days after a massive network outage left millions of Australians without a phone or internet service for 12 hours. Chief Financial Officer Michael Venter will take over as interim CEO, Singtel said in a statement. Meanwhile, oil futures nudged higher on Monday, extending gains on expectations of OPEC plus deepening supply cuts to shore up prices. Brent crude futures climbed 11 cents to $18.72 US a barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate crude was at $75.97 US a barrel. Oil prices have fallen for 4 weeks on easing concern of Mideast supply disruption brought about by the Israel-Hamas conflict. Meanwhile, Japanese shares hit highs not seen since 1990 on Monday as strong earnings and offshore demand fueled a 3-week winning streak, while the yuan was nudged higher by China's central bank. Japan's Nikkei was back to steady after finally breaking its September peak and is up 8.8% for the month so far, with the topics not far behind. Financial shares led the gains on Monday as investors prepared for an eventual and to negative rates, while automakers have been benefiting from a weak yen and high exports. And you're watching the India News Hour. Time now for some sports news. Australia got better of India in the title clash to lift the Cricket World Cup for the record 6th time. Australian batter Travis Head notched up a magnificent century to get his side of the line. More in this report.
Australia has halted India's juggernaut in the summit clash to clinch the Cricket World Cup trophy for the record 6th time. Australian opener Travis Head slammed a magnificent ton to guide his team to victory against men in blue, who posted a modest total of 240 runs. The import of Head's century can be gauged from the fact that Aussies had slumped to 47 for 3 in 7 overs into the chase. He combined in a grandstand of 192 with Manas Labuschagne to dominate the contest. The Australia's triumphs in the World Cup finals began in 1987 when they trounced England. Australia's domination of world cricket began as they clinched the trophy in 1999, 2003 and 2007. In 2015, they again lifted the holy grail of cricket. In 2023, they were conferred with the highest honours in the sport. Head smashed a superb 137 of 120 balls to ease Australian nerves and keep the Indian bowlers at bay. Manas Labuschagne remained unbeaten on 58. Mohammad Sami spearheaded the Indian charge with the new ball. He removed David Warner early, while on the other hand, Jasprit Bumrah dismissed Mitchell Marsh and Steven Smith. Head along with Labuschagne began to rebuild the Australian innings with a mixture of defence and attack, as Indian spinners failed to get perches on a slow surface. Earlier, Australian skipper Pat Cummins led by an example. He took the bold decision to field after winning the toss. Indian captain Rohit Sharma began his innings on a flamboyant note. Head took a stunning catch to end Rohit's blistering knock of 47. India had reached 76 runs in less than 10 overs, but a few quick wickets pegged the hosts back. A dominating half-century by Virat Kohli and a laboured 66 by KL Rahul ensured India were not bowled out for a much lower score. Head etched his name in the history books for playing decisive role in the semi-final and final of a World Cup. He joined the elite club of Mohinder Amarnath, Arvind De Silva and Shane Warne. Many would argue, and not without reasons, that Australia was not the best team in the tournament, but there is no debate that it was Head's night. Sports Desk, DD India.
Meanwhile, in a tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote, "Dear Team India, your talent and determination through the World Cup was noteworthy. You played with great spirit and brought immense pride to the nation. We stand with you today and always," unquote. An Australian skipper, Pat Cummins, termed the victory as pinnacle of international cricket. He said, "I think that's the pinnacle of international cricket, winning a one-day World Cup. It's been a big year for everyone. Ashes, World Test Championship, and top it off with this is just huge. And these are the moments that you remember for the rest of your life. You only get a shot at it every 4 years. Even if you have a 10-year career, you might only get 2 chances at it. And yeah, it's just the whole cricket world stops with this World Cup, so it doesn't get any better," unquote. Meanwhile, Indian coach Rahul Dravid said he was proud of the team's performance in the tournament. And he said, "We ran a really good campaign, really proud of the boys. We were the favourites because we were playing well, but Australia is also a very good cricket team. They also came here with 8 wins on the bounce, so we were under no illusions that this was going to be a tough contest. We were confident that if we played well, we would get the right result, but unfortunately, on the day they played better than us," unquote. And a ruthless Novak Djokovic trounced a home favourite Jannik Sinner in straight sets to win the ATP Finals title for a record 7th time. Earlier in the week, Djokovic had lost to Sinner in the group stage, where he avenged his defeat with a sublime display to claim a 6-3, 6-3 victory. The world number 1 dropped only 2 points on serve in a flawless opening set, and once he had broken Sinner's serve in the 4th game, it was largely one-way traffic. At one point, Djokovic won 14 points in a row against a player ranked 4th in the world before Sinner briefly slowed the match of the 24-time Grand Slam champion. His win concludes a year in which he won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam titles and seized back the world number 1 spot with Carlos Alcaraz. And Ukraine coach Serhiy Robrov said his players were angry ahead of their crucial Euro qualifier match against Italy over EFA President Alexander Kafarin's statement. Kafarin said that it would be a disaster if reigning champions Italy failed to qualify for Euro 2024. Despite winning Euro 2020, Italy failed to qualify for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups and are now facing the prospect of not reaching a 3rd major tournament out of 4. Should Italy lose, it would end the current European champions' hopes of direct qualification for next year's finals in Germany and send them into the playoffs. Italy and Ukraine will battle it out on Monday for 2nd place in the final automatic qualification spot.
It is very important for the players to be ready for the game mentally. They should forget about everything, forget about all the statements in the press and concentrate on their game. I believe that these statements will not affect our players in any way. Only they will be more angry and will understand that only we can make tomorrow's result.
Also, Spain defeated Georgia 3-1 in their final Euro 2024 qualifying Group A match. The Spaniards, already assured of top spot, recorded 21 points after 7 wins in 8 matches. They lost only to 2nd place Scotland, who had also already qualified for the finals. Spain grabbed the lead in the 4th minute after a free kick from Torres on the left was headed home by Lenormand for his first international goal. Portugal trounced Iceland 2-0 at home to finish the Euro 2024 qualifying campaign with a perfect record of 10 straight wins in Group J. Portugal finished with 30 points, 8 points ahead of Slovakia, who also qualified for next year's finals in Germany. Bruno Fernandes scored the first goal of the night for the host 8 minutes before the break with a well-placed low shot from the edge of the box. Scotland finished the Euro 2024 qualification campaign with a frantic 3-3 home draw against Norway, but despite being denied by late equaliser, it was a joyous night at Hampden on Sunday. The result meant Scotland finished the group in 2nd place with 17 points, 4 points behind group winners Spain. Well, in Havana's annual Maravana race, thousands of marathoners from 47 countries traversed iconic landmarks. The 37th edition featured 10, 21 or 42 kilometers of races, attracting a diverse international participation. The event, dedicated to the centenary of Cuban revolutionary leader Jose Raymond Fernandez and honoring the bond between Cuba and Mexico, this year's Maravana celebrated unity and expressed gratitude for Mexico's unwavering solidarity. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Nipakshi Kurana. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD News Hour.